Good morning, guys. I want you to meet a really special friend of mine, an athlete, Cherith Peterson. Not Hathaway, like I keep calling you because of your Facebook. But she has been an athlete here for, I guess, what is that now? 10 months. Yep, almost 11 because you started in January.
Yep.
And she's got a really cool story. So we kind of saw these two boats, if you will, during quarantine, starting in March, of people that kind of really fell off the wagon, and it was just a hard season, and then some people that just totally went in the opposite direction and kicked it into high gear and leveraged that time for something special for themselves. So I'm going to ask, do a little interview here with Cherith today because she's got a really special story that we want you guys to hear. But could you give us a little bit of background on you? I think
Sure.
you're awesome, but I'd love to hear a little bit about your family life.
Sure.
And
Sure. Well, I am newly turned 40, and I say that because in one aspect that kind of ties into the fitness
That's right.
journey. I am been married for 21 years, have 5 children, so clearly in there the fitness has been up and down, and the body changes many. We're currently attending Hope Community Church in Cotswold, and my husband's been an elder in the past of the church, and we've always been very tied to service to the Lord as much as we can.
so if you could dive into a little bit more of specifically fitness journey. Now, I know that you've had 5 kids, so a lot of times we see, and I know from having kids too, it's the ups and downs of I'm on, I'm off, I'm on, I'm off, I'm
Yep.
training, I'm not. So
Yep.
what has that fitness journey looked like?
So for me, again, pre-40, and most of my kids were
Pre-40.
I mean, I had my first kid at 25 and my last kid at 36.
Mhm.
So a lot
That's
of that, you kind of can bounce back fast in the sense of I'm good with my walking and my jogging. And, I mean, years ago I used to play softball, and I was a ballerina, and I did that fairly intensely for my high school years, and lots of hours there. But then once you become adulthood, you're like, oh, the running's good, your metabolism's still going strong. And then number 5 kicked in, and the running and the walking was not sufficient anymore. In addition to just my body was whacked up after him. And so my husband had been trying to get me to do other things, weight training, I had weights in, do different things, and I just wasn't in a place to be able to do that.
So how did you end up here?
So a very dear friend of mine, Emily Massey, knew how hard Gideon was for me. He was just a surprise baby. It had been 5 years since we had a kid, and she really pursued me. She's like, I go to Mission Fit, and it's lovely, and you can bring your kids, and they can play in the driveway while you work out. Well, I still wasn't in a good place, and emotionally, physically, spiritually, I was just low. And he was still hard, and so I said no, and she thankfully pursued me again. And so that's how I ended up at Mission Fit, and my plug there is have community. The Lord wants us to be in community and fellowship. She knew my story, and if you don't have people who know your story, they aren't going to know how to encourage you and point you to where you need to be.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. So if you could choose 3 words to kind of sum that up to describe your fitness journey, what would they be?
Encouragement, accountability, and maybe rededication in a different way than I had been before.
Yep.
I wanted to be healthy, but I needed to rededicate and do it in a different way this time.
So what do you mean a different way?
Back
And
to
healthy.
the whole, I just couldn't get away with the running and the walking anymore. I had to figure out something that would work that was shorter, frankly, a shorter amount of time. I mean, 45 minutes in and out, quick. Have people giving you direction on how to strengthen your entire body versus just burning the calories. So it was just different for me in that way.
And now you've really dug into nutrition. I mean, you've kind of dialed it in quite a bit.
So yes, and no, in the sense that my husband and I, funny story, like years ago when we were a year and a half, 2 years married, we were in law school. He was in law school. I was paying his way through law school.
Let's be real.
we both gained a lot of weight. We had a miscarriage. It was a unplanned pregnancy in the sense that we were not trying to have babies a year and a half into marriage. The Lord knew better. We were pregnant and ended up in a miscarriage. All that in the good Lord's plans, and I trust that, and I can speak about that to anyone who wants to hear about that. But we both gained a lot of weight. I was like 160 something, even more than when I started here in January. I was like 157 in January, but I was like 165, which for my little 5'4" height is a lot of weight. And so we actually did Weight Watchers. Not necessarily unplugging Weight Watchers, but it worked. Mm-hmm. We learned about portion control. Mm-hmm. I do believe in moderation versus just ruling out lots of stuff, which honestly lines up with a lot of what you talk about here. And so because we did that, always we have had a conscientious of what are we eating, how much are we eating. Mm-hmm. Not that it's always been perfect, but that has helped. And then, again, 3 years of Gideon and a whole year of not sleeping, and my hormones were all whacked up, so anything I ate turned into just pounds. Didn't matter if it was healthy or not, just my body wasn't processing anything well. Kind of being refocused by y'all of, hang on, we're going to do this, but back to the accountability and people encouraging you to do it versus if you're at a lowest point, you're not going to do it by yourself. Mm-hmm.
Now, tell me a little bit about quarantine. So you started an interesting time. You started in January. You went through the beginner program. You went through Restart Your Heart. And then you graduated and quarantine happened.
Yep.
So we kind of, unfortunately, our small group accountability and everything fun had to go away for a season. Yep. So you kicked it up big time.
I did because, again, if I had not started in January and seen even the little progress I was already making, I would probably be the one who gained weight in quarantine. Let's be real. My kids were at home. There was a lot of stress. 5 of them. Gideon would sometimes toddle behind Zoom calls, waving at the teachers. Anyway, but I had already decided that after 3 years of ignoring myself and caring for our family, that I couldn't stop just because quarantine happened. And so even though it meant getting interrupted multiple times and hitting pause on the recorded Zoom call that y'all did your thing on, I made sure I got through that workout.
3 hours later, she's got a 45-minute class done.
Maybe an hour. It wasn't maybe that bad, but it would sometimes take an hour to get through it, and that's okay. And so I was thankful also that my husband kind of jumped in with me. He didn't do the same workouts as me, but he in January had decided he was going to do 10,000 steps a day because he sits a lot. He's a lawyer. And so he was doing that. I was like, okay, well, if he's going to do that, I'm going to do it with him. I mean, we're at home. What else is there to do? And so I continued doing y'all's classes at least 4 times a week.
That's awesome. Now, what do you think some big takeaways have been, like little things that you've learned other than just the fitness and stuff? What have been some big wins or takeaways for you?
Shoot, I don't know. Now you got me stumped on this one. I mean, I do think it is important. Y'all like to talk about what goes in the body, and I think it's important, like, you are going to get hungry, but don't grab a piece of candy, grab a handful of almonds, or just because y'all talk about the mind, body, and heart all the time, it makes you pause in your daily life to really think about, okay, what am I putting in my body? I'm thankful for y'all holding me accountable to making sure I do my quiet time. Am I spending time there? It just all goes hand in hand, I guess, as a takeaway, and you kind of have to pause and see what you're doing for each of those parts of your life.
Now, what's your motivator for all of this? Like, you're crushing it, you're working really hard in all these different areas, your water, all of the things. What's your driver?
One was I was turning 40, and I was really down about how much weight I had gained post-Gideon and how I felt. I did not feel very good. I wouldn't have said I felt sick or anything like that, but I just knew I did not have the energy I used to have. Granted, I'm getting older, but part of it was just where I was post-baby, even though it was 3 years post-baby. I have a young family. I mean, even though my oldest is almost 15, I have a 3-year-old still. I'm going to be a mom a long time, and I can't stop. And so I needed to be healthy for my family. And then, clearly, if I have to be healthy for my family as a Christian mom, if I'm not healthy for them, I'm not going to be training them well in the Lord and in their fitness and in their schooling and all of the things I'm supposed to do as a role of mom if I'm not taking care of myself.
Yeah. So let's go on that a little bit. So what do you feel the connection between faith and health is?
Well, our body is the temple of the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
And if he's dwelling in me, I'm supposed to be taking care of it. And I haven't been taking care of it. And I do think that if you're taking care of yourself, you can take care of others better, which the Lord calls us to care for others. He doesn't tell us to neglect ourselves like I had been doing for so long, but he does tell us to care and serve for others like he came and did for us.
Mm-hmm. Well, there you have it, guys. So this is Cherith. I hope that this was encouraging to you guys to hear her story, and not so much I'm not doing that, but just an encouragement to see what others are doing, and for those of you that aren't in the 9:30 class, to get to meet some of your other fellow mission fitters.
And I'm not perfect.
Nobody's perfect except for Jesus, Cherith.
That's
it's
right.
Okay.
That's right.
We'll see you guys next time.